This is not just an ancient stadium. This is where death became entertainment, where the roar of the crowd drowned out the screams of the dying. For centuries, this arena stood as the ultimate symbol of the Roman Empire's absolute control over life and death, a place where blood and sand mixed to create a spectacle of power. This is the story of the Colosseum. The story begins in the aftermath of chaos, following the turbulent year of the four emperors. A new dynasty, the Flavians, sought to solidify its grip on Rome. Emperor Vespasian, who reigned from 69 to 79 AD, knew that military victory was not enough. He needed to win the hearts of his people. His solution was a grand gesture of public generosity, a monumental amphitheater built not for a private ruler, but for the citizens of Rome. Construction began around 70 AD, on the site of Nero's extravagant Golden House, a deliberate act to erase the memory of a despised tyrant and return the land to the public. Completed under his son Titus in 80 and further modified by his other son Domitian, the Flavian Amphitheater, later known as the Colosseum, was born. It was an engineering marvel, an elliptical wonder of travertine, tuff, and concrete that could hold over 50,000 spectators. Its complex system of tiered seating, corridors, and 80 entrances allowed for efficient crowd control, a testament to Roman ingenuity. But its true purpose was political. Every arch, every tier, was a message. Rome was stable, powerful, and its emperor was the ultimate provider. It was architecture's propaganda, a stone declaration of a new golden age. At the heart of this spectacle were the gladiators, the unwilling stars of the arena. They were a diverse group, drawn from the fringes of society. Most were prisoners of war, captured in Rome's relentless campaigns of expansion, their lives forfeit to the state. Others were slaves sold to the asterisk, Lanista asterisk, the owner of a gladiator school, or criminals condemned to die in the arena. Surprisingly, a small number were freeborn volunteers, desperate men who risked death for the chance of fame, glory, and prize money. Life in the gladiator schools, or asterisk ludi asterisk, was a brutal existence of relentless training and iron discipline. They learned to fight and die with skill and courage. Their diet was carefully managed for stamina, and their bodies were honed into weapons. Yet, for all their strength, their life expectancy was brutally short. They were heroes to the roaring crowds, their names chanted in the streets. But to the empire that created them, they were ultimately disposable. This was the tragic paradox of the gladiator. A slave celebrated as a god, whose glory was measured by his proximity to death. The games held within the Colosseum were a meticulously choreographed theater of death. The main event was, of course, the gladiatorial combat, or asterisk. Manera asterisk. These were not chaotic brawls, but regulated duels between fighters with different types of armor and weaponry. Like the heavily armed Mermillo against the net-wielding Rish. Each pairing was a strategic matchup, designed for maximum audience excitement. But the bloodshed didn't end there. The day often began with asterisk venations, asterisk, elaborate animal hunts, exotic beasts from the far corners of the empire. Lions, tigers, elephants, and rhinos were pitted against armed hunters, or each other in a display of Rome's dominion over the natural world. The midday interval was reserved for astris, noxi, astris, public executions of criminals. These were often staged as grotesque reenactments of mythological scenes, turning capital punishment into a form of perverse, instructional theater. Above it all, the emperor sat in his imperial box, the ultimate arbiter. With a simple gesture, the turn of a thumb, he held the power of life and death, confirming his divine-like status before 50,000 witnesses. Violence was the show, and the show was a tool of absolute control. The Colosseum was the epicenter of the bread and circus strategy, a term coined by the poet Juvenal, to describe the state's method of pacifying the masses by providing free grain and spectacular, free entertainment. The emperors kept the Roman populace distracted, fed, and politically compliant. The games were a powerful instrument of propaganda. Victories in faraway lands were reenacted in the arena, reminding citizens of the empire's military might. The slaughter of exotic animals showcased the vast reach of Roman power, giving the masses a voice, even one as simple as screaming for life or death, created an illusion of participation in the state's power, binding them closer to the emperor. The Colosseum broadcast a clear message to the world. Rome was eternal. Its power was absolute, and its ability to command life and death was unmatched. It was a stage where the empire performed its own invincibility. To be in the Colosseum was to be part of a powerful, primal psychological experience. The sheer scale of the crowd, the roaring and cheering, created a sense of collective euphoria. Individual morality and empathy were subsumed by the mob mentality. In this supercharged atmosphere, the sight of blood and death became not a horror, but a source of thrilling entertainment. The crowd learned to crave the spectacle, their emotions expertly manipulated by the pacing of the games, the thrill of the hunt, and the drama of the duel. This normalization of extreme violence had a profound effect on Roman society. When cruelty is presented as entertainment and killing as a public sport, the moral fabric of a civilization begins to decay. The Colosseum stands as a chilling testament to how easily power can manipulate mass emotion, turning ordinary citizens into willing spectators of brutality. The decline of the arena was a slow, gradual process, mirroring the transformation of the Roman Empire itself. The rise of Christianity was a pivotal factor. The new faith, with its emphasis on the sanctity of life and compassion, stood in stark opposition to the bloodshed of the games. As Christianity grew from a persecuted sect to the state religion in the 4th century AD, the values of Roman society began to shift. Gladiatorial combat was officially banned in the early 5th century, though animal hunts continued for a while longer. The empire itself was weakening, beset by economic crises and external threats, making the enormous expense of staging the games unsustainable. The Colosseum also fell victim to nature. Devastating earthquakes in the 5th and 6th centuries caused significant damage to the structure. Over the following centuries, it was abandoned and neglected, its stones and iron clamps plundered for new construction projects. Its once hallowed arena turned into a fortress, a quarry, and even a housing complex. The arena of death slowly crumbled into a historic ruin. Today, the Colosseum stands as a global icon, the most recognizable symbol of the Roman Empire's legacy. Each year, millions of tourists walk through its arches, their footsteps echoing where gladiators once marched to their doom. It is a site of immense historical and cultural importance, the subject of ongoing preservation and archaeological study. Yet, a powerful contrast hangs in the air. We admire its architectural grandeur and engineering genius, taking photos against a backdrop of ancient stone. But this modern admiration stands in stark silence against the brutal reality of its past. The Colosseum is a silent witness to centuries of forgotten screams, a monument built on a foundation of pain and suffering. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable relationship between the beauty of our heritage and the brutality that often created it. The Colosseum was never just stone and sand. It was raw power, carved into architecture, a theater where an empire performed its dominance for the world to see. It was a reflection of Roman society's greatest strengths: its engineering, its organizational skill, its ambition, and its darkest pathologized its cruelty, its mob mentality, and its thirst for blood. Empires fall, but the shadows of their power remain forever, etched into the monuments they leave behind. And as we gaze upon these magnificent ruins, we are forced to ask a timeless question. What does this monument, this blend of glorious achievement and horrific violence, truly teach us about the enduring complexities of human nature?